You're scrolling through your bank account on a Thursday morning, and instead of that familiar knot in your stomach, you actually smile. Not because you're rich, but because you know that even if everything went sideways tomorrow, you'd be absolutely fine. That feeling, it's rarer than you think. Hi, I'm Dan, and I'm here to talk about something that might surprise you. There's a specific financial milestone that separates the truly secure from everyone else, and it's not what most people assume. We're not talking about becoming a millionaire or retiring early. We're talking about something much simpler, much more achievable, and yet something that 9 out of 10 people never reach in their entire lives. What I'm describing is true financial independence. And no, that doesn't mean quitting your job to live on a beach somewhere. It means reaching the point where you could survive for one full year without earning a single dollar. Just 1 year. That's the line between financial anxiety and financial peace, and most people never cross it. According to recent surveys, over half of Americans couldn't cover a $1,000 emergency without going into debt. $1,000. That's not even a month's rent in most places. So when life throws those inevitable curveballs, car repairs, medical bills, job loss, most people scramble into panic mode. Here's what's really happening. Most of us are trapped in what I call the income treadmill. You work hard, earn decent money, pay your bills, maybe even have a little left over. But if that paycheck stopped coming tomorrow, how long could you actually survive? For most people, it's terrifyingly short. When you're living paycheck to paycheck, you're not just financially vulnerable, you're trapped. You can't leave a toxic work situation because you need that income. You can't negotiate better terms because you're scared of losing what you have. You can't take risks or pursue opportunities because you're always one missed payment away from disaster. Meanwhile, that small percentage of people who've built up a year's worth of expenses, they're operating from a completely different place. They have options. They can breathe. And the difference between them and everyone else isn't luck or brilliance. It's one simple number. The magic threshold is this: one full year of living expenses saved in cash, not invested in stocks, not tied up in retirement accounts, but sitting safely in an accessible savings account. If your monthly expenses are $3,000, you need $36,000 saved. If you spend $4,000 a month, you need $48,000. $5,000 a month means you need $60,000. Now, is that a significant amount of money? Absolutely. But here's what changes when you reach it. Research shows that having just 3 months of expenses saved increases your financial well-being by 70%. When you push that to a full year, you enter an entirely different category of financial security. First, it gives you breathing room. Car trouble becomes annoying instead of devastating. Second, it gives you negotiating power. If your boss is being unreasonable, you can walk away if necessary. Third, it gives you time. Time to find the right opportunity, not just any opportunity. Time to make smart decisions instead of desperate ones. So how do you actually get there? Let me break this down into manageable steps. Start by calculating your real monthly expenses. Not what you think you spend, but what you actually spend. Pull up 3 months of bank statements and add everything up. Rent, utilities, groceries, insurance, phone, internet, gas, minimum debt payments, all of it. Let's say you come up with $3,500 a month. That means your target is $42,000. Write that number down and put it somewhere you'll see it daily. That's your finish line. Now, here's the plan. You can't save $42,000 overnight, but you can build it systematically. Step 1. Get $1,000 in the bank as quickly as possible. Sell things, pick up extra work, cut expenses, whatever it takes. This becomes your starter emergency fund. Step 2. Build to 1 month of expenses. In our example, that's $3,500. This might take 3 to 6 months if you're saving $500 to $1,000 monthly. It's challenging, but absolutely doable. Step 3, push to 3 months of expenses, $10,500. This is where most people plateau, but if you reach this point, you're already ahead of 70% of Americans. Step 4, go for the full year, $42,000. This might take 2 to 3 years of consistent, focused saving, but once you're there, everything changes. The key is automation. Set up automatic transfers every payday into a separate high-yield savings account that you don't touch except for true emergencies. Treat it like a bill you have to pay. Pay yourself first, then live on what remains. Let me share a story about someone I know. Sarah works in customer service, makes about $50,000 a year. She spent years living paycheck to paycheck, always stressed about money. Then her company went through layoffs and she watched coworkers panic as they scrambled to find new jobs while bills piled up. That was her wake-up call. Sarah calculated her monthly expenses at $2,800, so her goal became $33,600. She cut her streaming subscriptions, started meal prepping instead of eating out, picked up freelance work on weekends, and stopped impulse buying. Sarah saved about $700 a month, sometimes more, sometimes less. 3.5 years later, she hit her goal. Today, she still works the same job, but everything feels different. If her boss becomes unreasonable, she could quit tomorrow and be fine for a year while figuring out her next move. That's real power. Here's where people mess this up. First mistake. They invest this money in stocks. Your emergency fund needs to be safe and accessible. Stocks fluctuate, and you can't afford that risk with money you might need quickly. Second mistake. They dip into it for non-emergencies. I'll just borrow from my emergency fund for this vacation and pay it back. Once you start that pattern, the fund disappears. Third mistake. They give up too early. Building 30,000 plus takes time and discipline. You'll have setbacks. Keep going anyway. The people who make it just keep showing up month after month until they reach their goal. Now here's something profound that happens when you finally hit that 1-year mark. Something shifts in your brain. You stop operating from fear. Think about how many decisions you make right now because you're scared. Scared of losing your job, scared of taking risks, scared of saying no to people. That fear is running your life whether you realize it or not. But when you have a year of expenses saved, that fear evaporates. Suddenly, you're making decisions based on what you want, not what you're afraid of. Your boss asks you to work unpaid overtime? No thanks. Someone tries to guilt you into lending money? Sorry, can't help. You see a risky but potentially rewarding opportunity? You can actually consider it instead of dismissing it immediately. It's like walking around with an invisible superpower. And here's the beautiful irony. When you stop being desperate for money, you often end up making more of it. You're confident, strategic, not making panic decisions. People respect that. Employers notice that. Opportunities appear when you're operating from abundance instead of scarcity. Plus, you sleep better. Genuinely, deeply, peacefully better. Because no matter what chaos happens in the world, you know you'll be okay for at least a year. That peace of mind is worth more than any paycheck. Let's talk action steps. Today, spend 15 minutes pulling up your last 3 months of bank statements. Add up everything you spent, divide by 3. That's your real monthly expense number. Multiply by 12. That's your life-changing goal. Write it down and stick it on your bathroom mirror. This week, spend 2 hours going through every subscription and recurring charge. Cancel anything you don't absolutely need. That $15 streaming service you barely use? Gone. That gym membership you haven't used in months? Canceled. That premium phone plan when basic would work fine? Downgraded. You'll be shocked how much money just leaks out on autopilot. This month, open a separate high-yield savings account specifically for your emergency fund. Set up automatic transfers every payday. Start with whatever you can manage. $100, $200, $500. The amount matters less than establishing the habit. Here's the secret. Every time you get unexpected money, tax refunds, bonuses, birthday cash, put at least half straight into this fund. Do this consistently, and you will get there. Look, I won't sugarcoat this. Building a year's worth of expenses is hard. It requires discipline and sacrifice. It means saying no to things you want right now so you can say yes to freedom later. But here's what you need to understand. The 90% who never make it aren't living better lives than the 10% who do. They're not happier or more fulfilled. They're just stuck, trapped on that income treadmill, exhausted and wondering when it'll get easier. Spoiler alert, It doesn't get easier until you make it easier. And you do that by building your safety net $1 at a time until you have enough cushion to breathe freely. Here's my challenge. Start today. Not tomorrow, not next week, today. Transfer $50 into a savings account. Open one if you don't have it. Just take the first step because your future self is counting on you to do this. Your 65-year-old self, your 70-year-old self, they're all watching and hoping you'll make this choice. If this resonated with you, I'd love to hear about your progress. Building financial security isn't about becoming rich, it's about becoming unshakable. And once you're there, you'll wonder why it took so long to start. Remember, it's not about the money itself, it's about the freedom and peace of mind that money provides when managed wisely. In the meantime, consider subscribing, and I will see you in the next one.